Safe skies, safe oceans, safe gravity, safe seasons. That, the Central Academy of Interstellar Studies, that belief shaped every lesson. Professor Keller stood beneath a floating star map while rows of alien students watched in quiet focus. Green markers shimmered across calm systems, red markers burned over hostile ones. Earth glowed red. Hazard level 9. Professor Keller moved one long hand through the projection. Intelligence thrives in stability, he said. History confirms this pattern. High hazard planets prevent sustained progress. Survival consumes resources. Innovation fades. Soft sounds of agreement moved through the hall. Feathers rustled. Scaled tails brushed against polished floors. Bioluminescent skin pulsed in quiet amusement. In the fourth row, a human girl sat very still. Her name was Mara Ilyanovna. Was smaller than most of her classmates. No armor plates, no claws, no glowing skin. Only dark hair tied back and steady brown eyes. On the map, Earth continued to burn red. Professor Keller enlarged the image. Atmospheric volatility, extreme seismic activity, constant megafauna, historically dominant microbial life, aggressive climate instability, cyclical. Several students turned to look at Mara. One tall insectoid leaned closer. Your world is classified as a death world. It said. You evolved. There a faint ripple of restrained laughter followed. Mara did not react. Professor Keller continued. No species from a level 9 world has achieved sustained interstellar dominance. Environmental chaos restricts cognitive surplus. Mara raised her hand. Movement was small, yet deliberate. Professor Keller paused. Des human student. My name is Mara Ilyanovna. She said, may I respond to the model presented you? May. Mara stood. She felt every gaze settle on her. Yet her voice remained calm. Professor, your thesis assumes that safety is required for intelligence on Earth. Safety never existed. Murmur spread through the hall. Professor Keller folded his hands. Clarify. Mara gestured her ward. The projection. Our oceans produce storms large enough to swallow cities. Our continents fracture and reshape. Fire rises from beneath the crust. Ice ages erase ecosystems. Predators once hunted us in every biome. She called up an image of early humans facing towering beasts. We were physically weak compared to our environment. No natural armor, no venom, limited speed, limited strength. Their reptilian student tilted its head. Then your survival was unlikeliest. Mara said. It was. The hall grew quieter. Fear was our first teacher. She continued. Storm approaching. We built shelter. Predator near. We created tools. Winter coming. We preserved food. River flooding. We redirected. Water images shifted above her. Primitive huts, stone spears, irrigation, canals. A calm world. Adaptation might occur slowly, she said. On Earth, delay meant extinction. Professor Keller stepped down from the platform. Pressure can destroy as easily as it creates. He said. Yes. Mara replied. Earth destroyed many species. It destroyed civilizations, too. She displayed a timeline. Empires rising, empires falling, cities lost to disaster, knowledge erased by war and plague. We failed often, she said. But each failure forced us to rebuild stronger structures, resistant to earthquakes, medical science to counter disease, agriculture resilient to drought. The insectoid who had laughed earlier shifted uneasily. Professor Keller studied the images. Argue that instability accelerated innovation. You've explained the mechanism. Mara took a slow breath. When survival is uncertain, every improvement matters. A stronger shelter means living through the night. A sharper tool means securing food. A new idea spreads quickly because it saves lives. She paused. Comfort delays urgency. Urgency sharpens focused. The reptilian student raised a clock. Constant danger should prevent long-term research. Did at times, Mara said. Yet Earth offers cycles, storm then calm, winter then spring, destruction then recovery. She met its gaze. There is always a window to rebuild. We learned to use those windows. Efficiently, the projection shifted to show early laboratory steam engines, electrical grids. Our scientific revolutions followed crises, pandemics, advanced medicine resource shortages, advanced engineering conflict, accelerated propulsion and communication. Students leaned forward. Professor Keller narrowed his eyes. Thoughtfully, your species also developed weapons capable of self-annihilation, yes then. Your model nearly failed. Mara nodded. We stood on the edge more than once, but living on a violent planet had already taught us caution. We understood consequences. She brought up an image of Earth from orbit, seeing our world as fragile changed us. The storms were no longer random enemies, they were systems to study. A soft silence filled the chamber. We mapped weather patterns, she continued. We predicted earthquakes. We built early warning systems. We reinforced cities. We developed vaccines. We expanded beyond the atmosphere. The insectoid spoke again. If Earth is so dangerous, why not abandon it? Mara smiled. Faintly, we considered that instead we learned from Itchy. Turned to Professor Keller. Or chart marks Earth as red to you. That means failure risk. To us it meant training. Training is Earth trained us to adapt quickly, to cooperate under pressure, to innovate without waiting for permission. She gestured toward the diverse students. When humans arrived in interstellar space, we encountered unfamiliar pathogens. Our immune systems adapted. Lower gravity worlds required physical adjustment. Our physiology adapted. Hostile negotiations required psychological resilience. Our history had prepared us. Professor Keller looked back at the star map. For centuries we categorized high-hazard worlds as evolutionary traps. He said, perhaps some are. Mara replied, but not. I'll explain the difference. Earth is harsh but not hopeless. Catastrophes occur, yet life persists. There is always a path forward. Natural selection never rests. Weak strategies disappear. Effective ones multiply. The reptilian student flicked its tongue thoughtfully. So, your planet functions as a continuous filter. Yes, pressure balanced with possibility. Professor Keller repeated the phrase slowly. Pressure balanced with possibility. He turned to the class record. This amendment hazard index alone does not determine developmental potential. Adaptive resilience must be measured. A low hum of surprise filled the room. The insectoid glanced at Maru. Are proud of a world that tries to kill you. Mara shook her head. Earth does not try, it simply exists. We chose to rise within. Itchy looked again at the swirling hologram. We do not fear the storms, lest we understand them more. Professor Keller dimmed the projection until only Earth remained visible. Human Mara Ilyanov, he said, would you be willing to present a full case study next Sakaliasferi? Wealth. The red glow around Earth shifted subtly as he adjusted the classification. Not green, not rider. New color formed. Gold designation. Adaptive apex. Students whispered to one another. The reptilian approached. Mara, after the session, your argument challenges long-held assumptions. It said many scholars will resist. Mara nodded on. Earth resistance is normal. The insectoid joined them. What does your species seek now that survival is less immediate? Mara looked toward the transparent dome ceiling where distant stars shone. Now we choose. Our challenges we explore, not because we must escape, but because growth never stops. Because you were shaped by danger, the insectoid said, softly as Professor Keller watched. From the platform, as clusters of students surrounded the human girl, he activated his recorder of vision, entry soul. 3 demonstrates non-linear advancement under extreme environmental stress. Further research required outside the lecture hall. Mara stepped into the academy courtyard. Artificial gravity felt light. The climate was perfectly regulated. No wind, no distant thunder. For a moment the stillness felt unnatural. Her wrist communicator vibrated. A message from home. She opened the feed. Crashed against dark cliffs. Wind roared through coastal trees. Clouds rolled heavy across the horizon. Storm season had begun. Mara felt a quiet warmth in her chest. Somewhere children were learning to secure their homes. Engineers were monitoring fault lines. Scientists were tracking pressure systems. Farmers were adjusting irrigation networks. The cycle continued. Earth remained violent, yet humanity remained standing back. Inside the academy, Professor Keller finalized the updated curriculum. The lesson no longer stated that intelligence required safety. Now read: intelligence emerges where pressure meets possibility. Resilience converts chaos into progressive progress. The network of interstellar institutions, the change would ripple outward. Models would shift, research would expand, assumptions would weaken, all because one human girl raised her hand. Mara closed the live feed and looked once more at the calm alien sky above her. She did not miss the danger itself. She missed the challenge. Earth had never promised comfort, it had demanded growth. And humanity had answered not with surrender, but with adaptation, not with despair, but with invention. The galaxy once saw a red mark and assumed limitation. Now it would study the gold a world of storms had forged. Explorers, a Deathworld had produced teachers, and the lesson had only begun. Asterisk.